What happened?
What's this word?
Yeah.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's starting to record at least. Okay,
Yeah, I can see you
great.
now.
How you doing, bro?
I'm easy, bro. I'm taking it easy. Just
It's just gonna be a bit delayed because of obviously the net. But
yeah. No,
but if
no,
it
it's all good.
gets too delayed, I think we'll just like record on another day.
Nah, it's all easy,
I
my G.
bet. How you doing? You good?
Nah, I'm easy, bro.
Cooped
I'm
in
taking it easy. Are
indoors.
you ish, bro?
Yeah, we have no choice, dog. You literally have no choice but to take it easy, bro.
Yeah, man.
But
It's just been
what
tough.
you been up to right now?
Um, ish, man. I'm trying to learn new skills. So I've been knitting because I've been trying to like really
Word.
get into it. Like knitwear has been like something I wanted to do for a minute, and I tried to do it like last season, but it was
Yeah.
so expensive and do samples, and it took so long. So I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it myself. But other than that, it's just like working on patterns for like I'm trying to do like a new collection, an independent show. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that, man. I'm just staying home, working, reading, writing a bit. And the internet vibe sometimes can get too hectic. Everyone has an opinion because everyone's at home bored. You know,
Ish.
Twitter trolls are
Ish.
hectic right now.
No cap, yeah. You know Twitter trolls,
Yeah, man.
dog. They don't stop. They don't stop.
Ah,
Everyone always
don't
has something
stop,
to
man.
say, dude.
Yeah, man. How about you?
But
What
I
you been
hear
up?
you. I'm I'm definitely been trying to like also like learn new skills, but I haven't really figured out what. So I'm managing this DJ. So I've kind of been looking around those trying to learn those things, watching a lot of documentaries on this coronavirus, just trying to like really just understand it and understand the strains and whatever. So and yeah, man, but I'm definitely really I'm literally stuck because I'm trying to learn like new skills, but at the same time I don't know what. So I don't want to learn something that I'm not like passionate about. You know what I mean? Um
Yeah.
so I'm just a bit stuck there, but I'm not gonna force it. Obviously have some ideas on collections, but because I'm like stuck indoors, I really need to
Ish.
jot that shit down. So I'm
Yeah.
also trying to read some books. So I'm actually in the process of finishing this Credo Mutua book, which I
Uh,
like started reading like 2 years, like a year ago, and I don't understand why I haven't finished it. So ever since they announced that he passed away, I was just like, "How, dog? What do I mean? Like, this is clearly the time for
yeah.
me to start reading on this OG." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, man. So I had a couple of like not necessarily questions because I don't want to call this like um I don't want it to be like an interview. I want us to like have a
Yeah.
conversation. Like I want us to really talk about shit. Like
Yeah.
obviously, it's gonna be questions here and there, and you can also ask questions yourself because as much
Yeah.
as you're the guest, you actually didn't introduce yourself as the guest. Like, what's your name? Who are you, bro?
Yo. Shit. Yeah, man.
Like, who,
Uh,
who are you? What do you do?
ish, bro. It's like like I've been trying to figure that shit out, man. Like that's the shit. This Corona shit also have you tripping, trying to figure out. Actually, dog, who the fuck am I? What the fuck am I trying to
Hundred
do?
percent.
Where am I going with my life and all that? But
Is it
anyways,
gonna
in
work?
essence, ish, bro. My name is Wanda Lephoto.
Okay.
First and foremost, like I'm one quarter of a collective known as the Sartists. Um,
Okay.
which is an art group essentially, or aspires to be an art
Mm-hmm.
group, an art practice. Me by myself, I consider myself not only a designer but also an artist. Um, Trying to learn, an artist in learning, trying to learn within different disciplines.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, man. I work, I consult, my style, I shoot, um, I
You
write.
shoot?
I even make music, bro. Like I've even trying to do music, and it's like some stuff is like not even doing music to try to become a professional musician. It's like just doing shit that heals yourself, like that heals your own soul. It's like,
Word.
yo, man, shit for myself. Like I'm not trying to go. I'm not trying to be on SoundCloud. I'm not trying to be successful within that aspect of it.
Word,
I'm just trying
word.
to heal
It's just like as
heal
an
myself.
output.
Yeah, man. Like it's. I think for me, it's like it's been very important. It's like I've existed, I guess, within my own community of friends and work and whatever else I do, be it campaigns, blah blah blah. And that shit is almost usually it's good, but it's not half as good as the shit that you sit with at home, that you do for yourself or you do for your family. And
A
then
hundred
that's where for me
percent.
the comfort lies
Yeah.
in. So yeah, that's who I am.
Okay. Okay, that's a good intro. I mean, you basically told us everything. So I didn't know you right. I didn't know you shoot, but at the same time, I kind of get why people don't know that you do that stuff because you don't necessarily do it to be known for doing it. You just do
Yeah,
it as an output type thing. You know what I mean? Like you just do it as a feeling, like you feel like doing this, so you do it, and that's that. Which is a good. I
yeah,
think that's a good reason to do anything, bro. I think that's one thing the whole digital age has kind of ruined, or the social pay era has ruined, is that people are now doing things to get some sort of validation from like the people that they're gonna show that content to. Whereas in reality, like you
yeah,
should be doing everything for yourself. Like you should be creating content that you're happy with first before you expect anyone else to be happy about it,
yeah,
because
man.
like you're not doing it for them. You're
Yeah,
really not doing it for them. And we I can say we because I feel like you also understand what I mean, because like we started doing things, I think, at the perfect time, because like we started doing it when South African social media wasn't on that like level. Like it was still brand new. Like Instagram was still like something very new, and people were still
yeah,
like really expressing themselves in different ways on the gram. And it wasn't even like for likes. It was just like there's this new
yeah,
thing, and I like taking a picture here. I think it looks artistic, so
yeah,
let's take
man.
a picture. You get 2 likes, you like three likes, and it's like, still I just didn't think it's a dope picture. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah,
now it's just like, yo, I've got 5 likes. Yo, what does this mean? People don't like my picture, and people have completely lost it, because now we get a lot of people just like doing stuff so that Wanda can appreciate it, doing stuff so that Bangy can appreciate it.
yeah,
It's like,
man.
bro, that's not the point. Like, that's not the point. Like, it's not the point at all. But I wanted to ask you something. So, like, let's say, how old is Wanda Leport to like the brand? How old
As
would
a
you say it
brand,
is?
I think we're 3 years. I think I launched. When did I launch the brand? I launched the
Okay,
brand
okay,
um, towards. So I like when I did the first collection we did in 2016. Um, but
right,
in 2016, like it wasn't officially launched. It was like um, as a Sartists, we had an exhibition in the UK in Brighton, and we were traveling. We were traveling
right.
to
I saw
Brighton in
that.
September. Yeah, and so what happened was a bunch of other designers. It was like Richard Nisi, a niece of Young and Lazy, Lucanio Mdingi, and Celeste. They were also traveling
Uh-huh.
at the same time at our exhibition because they had a pop up. And then Celeste sort of suggested this thing to me. He's like, "Yo, man, like I see you make a shirt or two every now and again. Why don't you join our pop up?" And I was just like, "Oh shit, yeah, man, I might as I like if the opportunity's there, I might as well just do it." So I did like a young capsule. I took
Right.
it with me to London, showcase in London. Came back and nothing was started. Like I just had a bunch of clothes. It's like, okay, you have a bunch of clothes that you took to London. What does that mean? And then I sort of sat. I was working in an agency, sort of sat with those clothes for like maybe 4 months, not doing
Okay.
anything. Like went to London, showcased the stuff, came back, didn't do anything, didn't sell anything. And I sort of was like, yo, man, what am I actually doing? Am I gonna make this into a brand? am I gonna do? So I think, and then I think between March, April, I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna launch this as a brand. I'm gonna take everything on my personal social media down and start putting the clothing out as a brand. And I put it out under my name. So I'd say like we're 3 years this year, having launched in 2017. Yeah, so we should be 3 years this year. It's felt longer, but
Okay.
it's only
Okay.
because it's like
Damn.
nothing was
Okay.
ever official. Nothing was ever. Things only became official like in 2017, where I was just like, oh shit, maybe I need to design a logo. Maybe I need to make tags for the clothing.
Right.
Uh, Maybe I need to register this
Right.
thing. I only started doing that in 2017 after having, like, I used to make shirts or clothes maybe for 3 years before that, but it wasn't a brand. It was just like, you're making clothes
I
to,
think this is dope. Yeah.
yeah, you're making clothes to dressing them yourself. But in terms of it being
Yeah.
formal, having to go get a tax number and all that shit, like that shit only came after 2017.
Word. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes so much sense, man. Okay. Okay. So I was on social media. I think it was about like last year.
yeah,
And I saw a post with like made me like raise like a lot of like it made me so curious and like actually made me anxious because I saw this post where you guys put up a sign or a notice that you guys were closing down, right? And
yeah,
it kind of really caught me off guard because I didn't really understand like or what was going on, and I had a couple of conversations with people and they were like, nah, they think it's a publicity stunt and
yeah,
this and that and this. But like before I tell you my opinion in it, like I want you to run me down it. Like what was that all about? Like why were you guys thinking about closing
yeah.
like the brand down? Why did you think about closing the brand down? Did you have any struggles? Like what was that all about?
Yo, bro, like it was hectic because it was like we launched. Let's say we launched in 2017, and then did another collection after that. That I guess people kind of sort
Right,
of really liked, and then did another one after that, which we sold independently, and then we were getting some traction or whatever, and then Woolworths came. Like
right,
I got a email from a friend. His name is David. And David sent me an email. He
right.
used to be creative director at Woolworths, and he sent me an email. He's like, "Yo, man, would you be interested in showcasing Under Style by SA for Woolworths next year in I think it was April of 2018?" So obviously,
Right.
gassed. I'm excited. I'm like, "Yo, man, damn, okay, dope." They're like, okay, this is your contribution for the show. Will assist you with X amount of money to make some samples, and then you'll do the rest yourself. Did it, which was our first show. Also, like the first time we were really in stores, where it's like you selling to like I think it was
100%.
like three
A
nationwide
corporation.
stores. Yeah, it's like we we're in this deal. On the outside, it looks good.
Yeah.
Uh, the
But on
first
the
one because
inside, we know how it goes. These
yeah,
corporates.
man, it's like I don't understand the numbers, and like it's not that I don't read contracts. I read my contract definitely read my contract. Um, did the first one. It went well. We were in stores. Stuff kind of moved. Um, the money came back. The profits from the Woolies show. It was great. But at the back of our head, it was like, yo, man, this shit is great, but you can feel that it's not sustainable. Like I could feel it's like, yo,
A
like it's
hundred
not sustainable.
percent.
Like we were only a year into having formed the brand then, and before doing our first runway show, and we were already in Woolworths, and it was like, yo, man, this shit is not sustainable. And then did our second show,
Mm,
which was in I think that was in October, last week of October. Did our second show in October, and then that didn't go. I mean, the show itself went really well, as in terms of
okay.
people for the show, in terms of Woolworths buying the product. But what came after that for me was like, okay, Woolies by itself can't sustain the brand. I have to do more things that
A,
I
B,
want to
C,
sustain the
D.
brand. And I ended up getting into a place where I was doing shit by myself because doing shit with Woolworths was too much maintenance and it wasn't cost effective for the brand. It was like, yo, we're actually losing more money from this deal with Woolworths and we're actually making. Situations are, and not to call out Woolworths and say that's what it was, but it was like homies pay 3 to 4 months after you've done the work and you're stuck with the costs to do the shit now. And we needed to produce clothes for people that were doing pre-orders. We needed to still put out new stuff. We needed to shoot. We needed to pay the people we work with. And we ended up being in a place where it was like, I couldn't afford to pay the people the models I was working with. Couldn't afford to pay people I was outsourcing skills from on time. Couldn't afford to get people their shipments on time. So it's like we're running, like everything's delayed because we're trying to still be in Woolworths, make sure they have their stuff on time, make sure this customer has their stuff on time. Shit was just failing. So I ended up having to take the decision. It's like, yo, man, like one, the manufacturers are fucking us up because, and I understand it's like the deal I did for Woolworths, it was like 300 garments worldwide, nationwide, spread between Joburg and Cape Town. But then that, in comparison to a brand that's in-house, like a Country Road, that's doing 10,000, they take my order and put it to the back. So I started having that encounter with like manufacturers where they were also not delivering on time, and it's like now people are asking for refunds. I don't have the money. I need to borrow the money, find the person back. So I was like, yo, man, this is getting too much for me. I'm gonna shut down the brand temporarily. Refund people their money, restructure, try find another alternative way of still putting out collections, maybe still being in store and still being active. So we shut down for like a while. Like it was like half a year. Like we shut down for like half a year, not putting anything out, trying to restructure everything, trying to find a way to do things. And yeah, man, it was a bit tricky. Then eventually when we came back, it was like, I think it was like our last season, or like my last season with Woolworths. Did the last season with Woolworths. They offered me a contract extension to be like, yo, are you keen on doing another season? I was like, nah, not yet, because I have to figure out my life. I need to figure out how I want to put stuff. And then
together yourself.
Lucky, yes, like I was doing everything by myself, and then Matt Kisa from Soul, who also runs the store, who owns the store, always, yeah, he was like, yo, man, if you're trying to figure stuff out, you can figure stuff out, but maybe here's an outlet where you can give us like 10 t-shirts that won't put too much pressure on you in terms of delivering. Just give us 10 t-shirts every month or every 2 months, and then you still have a retail outlet. So I did that because that, like, I could maintain that a little better, and I could still work on things I wanted to work on by myself and figure out like how to like manage my own expectations. Because it's like, yo, man, like you can get easy being stuck up with the idea. It's like, yo, I'm selling at Woolworths, but what does that actually mean for your business? It's like, it doesn't mean that that's great for your business. You could be actually taking strain from such a good thing that's supposed to help you. So that's what that was about. It was like, yo, like now you 20K in refund money, and you're like, damn, where am I gonna get 20K to refund these people?
Yeah, I know that stress, bro. Oh my God. And it's just like you don't want to give your brand a bad rep and yourself a bad rep at the same time. And because like it's 20K, like it's 20,000 Rand. Like Like,
Yeah, bro.
because one thing I've learned about like this whole brand thing is, you know, I know it sounds terrible for me to say, but I'd rather owe a manufacturer than you know, because and a manufacturer, I wouldn't say you can replace a manufacturer, but you can find a new one. But clients are people like, and the
Yeah,
last thing you want is to be like, yo, I bought something from Wanda and it hasn't came, and
exactly.
that word spreads like wildfire. You know how it goes. Like everyone's
Yeah,
gonna talk about now. Each time someone buys something from, is gonna be like, hey, but this guy told me this, and it's like, yo, that's bad business practice. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly, bro. That's exactly what it
So it's
was.
like, can you hear me? I think
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah. I can
connection
hear
is
you, bro.
getting really bad.
Nah, but I can hear you.
So I actually forgot to tell you something. So this is gonna be basically like a part one, right? Because
Yeah,
we just really just trying to create some sort of movement with everything happening,
yeah,
and then the part two is obviously gonna be recorded after lockdown at the
yeah,
same studios that we record all our podcasts. So yeah, so this is gonna just be a part one. So just don't worry about it. And even to the people listening, they shouldn't worry about some of the information that's cut because of the connection, because this is obviously a Skype call. Um, but yeah, we're just trying our level best. But yeah, I wanted to ask you like one question. I see you touched on quite a number of things that I wanted to ask you, because you touched like on well, a number of things I wanted to I wanted us to talk about. You touched on Woolworths, you touched on the Fashion Week, and for to be quite honest with you, I don't think I know you possibly don't feel bad in any way, but I don't think you like should feel bad for the decision you made in terms of like stepping back. You know what I mean? If
yeah,
there's one thing a lot of people don't understand, especially people in our industry, is that like failure is actually really part of
yeah,
um, um, almost everything you do. Like on every road to greatness, on every journey to greatness, like you need to fail in order to know how to think outside the box. You know what I mean? Like if everything we did like was spot on to how our expectations were, like we would really be basic people that have like a basic way of thinking, because we have never been in a corner where we need to now think on the spot. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
all that matters, and I tell this to everyone, that like all that really matters is how you bounce back, like how you formulate a plan. It's one thing to fail, but it's another thing to fail and not do anything about it. Those are two different
yeah,
things. You know what I mean? Like they're completely two different things. So I do definitely, because I do appreciate you, the brand coming back and yourself coming back, because to me, like the industry needs more people. Like we need more people, and we need more sustainable people, because the more people we have, the like that increases our lifespan. Like that increases
yeah,
that increases the lifespan of Wanda Lephoto, because now there's a lot of other people. But when there's one brand that's in the limelight, two brands that are in the limelight, like all the focus is on these two brands, and they can't afford to keep quiet or to slip up, which in reality should not be
yeah.
the case. I don't think that should be the case. Like
No.
we should be allowed to do whatever the fuck we want, dog. Like we shouldn't
Yeah,
allowed
yeah,
to be like Frank Ocean. You know what I mean? Like we should be allowed to drop a song when we want, drop an album when we want. We
yeah.
shouldn't feel the need to do it because
Always put shit
because
out.
the
Yeah,
people want it. Like nah.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you.
And that's what also the consumer understand, that as much as we're doing this for them, but it's more about us. Like it's more about us
Yeah,
more than anything, because we put our lives on like we put our lives on pause, dog. You know what I mean? Like we put our lives completely on pause to just do this one thing, So anyway, back to what we're talking about. You said you had you were a stylist and you had a job, and obviously you make clothes, you're a designer. So um, how do you balance staying true to how you make clothes and and just making stuff for money?
bro, it's tough, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie. It's like it's
Yeah, hella
tough.
tough.
like I used to work at an agency in like maybe between when I left school in 2014 and I didn't graduate. Like I dropped out of Lysoff in my third year. I was just like, fuck, I
Right.
can't afford to be here anymore. I went and I interned at the bread for a minute. Left the bread and I started working at an agency called And People. I think this is like
Right.
2015. And I worked there for maybe like a year and a half. And then in 2016, I quit. Like I was just like, fuck it, I'm out because I wanted to do other stuff. I just wanted to do. I wanted to do the Sartist stuff. I wanted to do other stuff, which
Yeah.
I did. And then from 2016 up until now, I haven't had a job. Essentially, I haven't had a full-time job. Let me put it like that. So from
Right.
2016 up until now, it's been 4 years where it's like I had to figure it out. Like between the clothes, between consulting, I had to figure it out. And how, like, what I did, it was like for me, and it doesn't always work. When it works, it's good. When it doesn't work, it's you're fucking depressed. It's
It's
horrible. You have no
bad.
money.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Fucking bad.
I had to I had to pitch for work. I still pitch for work. Um, I still ask for like to assist people. Um, I consult for an agency now called Futura Design Joburg. And I think like
Okay.
they're really an amazing agency. So I work with them, and I guess like between 2018 2019, I've spent more time working with them, learning from them, assisting them where I could, and the work that I do there has been able to balance me out in terms of when I shut the
Right.
brand, I shut down the brand. I was at Futura working, so I was like, okay, at least I have a distraction. At least I've got an income coming. And then when I'm not working at Futura,
Right.
I can still count on the brand doing A, B, and C. I can still count on other jobs that are like styling. It's like if I get a stylist job, which is not too often, but I do get one or two here and there, like that will balance me out. But I'm not gonna lie to you,
Mm-hmm.
man. It's been
Mm-hmm.
many a time in between. It's like actually maybe every month I sit at home and it's like, no, fuck. Actually, at the end of this month, I'm getting a
What's
job.
going
Fuck
on
this
now?
shit. Getting a job. Like I
Yeah,
probably have that
that happens to
conversation
me
with
every day, bro.
myself. It's like,
Like every day, it's just
you know
like,
what I
yo,
mean?
what's really going on, dog?
Exactly, bro.
Like, are we doing this? And if we are doing this, what's happening, dog? Like, is this our life
Exactly.
forever? Like, I think that's the one thing a lot of people don't understand because they look at us and they think like, yo, these niggas are living it up. Everything is smooth sailing. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
bro.
yo, it's not for the faint-hearted, dog. Like, being your own boss is not for the faint-hearted because
Yeah,
everything
bro.
else that someone else forces you to do when you have a job, you have to do that for yourself. So being
Exactly.
early to whatever, you have to
Exactly,
do that to yourself. Working and overworking yourself, you have to do that for yourself. Like it's actually
bro.
literally all a thing of if you don't work, you don't eat, dog. Like it's literally that simple.
Bro,
Like and you can't
bro.
and you can't spend your whole bag and be like, yeah, nah, month end I'm good. Nah, there is no month end, but you create your own month end. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so that's the only
Exactly,
catch.
bro. Yeah, man. So
So
it's been like it's been tough.
yeah, but you know, I wouldn't like from outside looking in. I mean, um, I think we all have me, yourself, and the Sartists. You know, I think we have like a big future, and a very bright future. Actually, not a big, but a bright future.
Yeah,
But
I
what
agree, man.
I want to do, like what I'd like to do one day, is to like literally sit like everyone in the game, and or maybe not obviously everyone, but like the significant people in the game, and like really sit down and have conversations like this, dog. Because like sometimes you have conversation with someone, and then you actually notice that we all going through the same things, like and if
Yeah,
we're having regular conversations, like we would all know how to bypass some of the issues. You know what I mean? Like we would all know
Yeah.
how to skip specific hurdles that we all fall into. And I'd specifically like take it back to like being a person of color. You know, like people of color, we lack the skill of just having a conversation and steering people that are in your community in the right direction. You know, like most of the time it's a thing of, nah, let me see this guy. This guy will see his way, and I know he's gonna fail. And when he fails, I'll tell him I knew I was gonna fail. Whereas in reality, it could have been like, yo, dog, this
Yeah.
plan, it doesn't look like it's going like this. You should do that, do this,
Yeah.
do this, do that. And the more interviews I watch based on these international homies that are big today, like they had conversations like with other people that were in the industry that were as big as them or as influential as them at some
Yeah.
point where, yo, dog, I want to do this. Do you think I should do that? Do you think I should not do this? Do you think I should do that? And actually, one guy that does that the most is actually Kanye West. Like Kanye West
Yeah.
actually he consults with a lot of people, and that's why he has like risen to this high level, because he understands the power in the people. He understands the power in having a conversation with Virgil about a pair of new shoes that he wants to drop in. But to us, I think it's a South African issue. To us, as South Africans, like, nah, let me do this first so I can show Wanda that I can do it. Whereas that's not the point. Like that's not the point. Like the point is for us to grow this industry that can't walk to a point
Yeah,
where
man.
it can walk without anyone helping it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and that's
man.
just how I view it. Like we need to have like more conversations
Right.
like this. We need to have like more dialogues where we school each other, dog. Like being amongst 11 pencils and one pencil being the sharpest out of 11 pencils is really pointless, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's pointless because we could all sharpen each other, you know. But that's
Yeah.
that's really just my my my
Now
my
you're
view,
right,
my
bro.
view. You know what I mean?
Nah, you're absolutely right. Like it's like even like I guess like even amongst my friends, like at the Sartists, it's like there's four of us, and there's even amongst ourselves, like we have like frustrations with each other, or with the industry or with our friends, because it's like and I'll use myself as an example. It's like, yo, man, it's like I've spent, or even collectively, maybe even you, like I've spent a huge part of my time, of my work trying to grow other brands, and it's like brands like Addy, brands like Nike, brands like Levi's, as opposed to trying to grow brands like Wanda Lephoto or is Dead or Rich or Tebe or Tubop or whatever. It's
Right.
like it's like and that's the conversation we need to have. It's like actually what is our priority?
100%.
Like, and your priority is definitely your bag. Like your priority is definitely making sure you eat. And if a brand puts money on in your pocket, and you live off of that, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing definitely wrong with that, because I've done that. I still do that. That's how I live. But also my priority
Right.
is to be, as much as I can grow that aspect and sector of the industry and contribute to the brand landscape, I also need to come back and still
Mm-hmm.
contribute to the other landscape, which is growing our own, because then we're always sitting and
Right.
having these conversations online, about the frustrations we have. Why, like, how can a brand be 20 years in the game, and then they shut down? That happens because no one's supporting, because our priorities are not to
Yeah.
support them. Our priorities are everything else. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, we
Mm,
we definitely
mm,
need to have that
mm, mm.
conversation. We'll sit down and it's like, yo, man, yeah, you've done your campaign for H&M, you've done your campaign for Puma, you've done your campaign
But
for
what we
Woolworths.
doing for us? Word.
But what are we doing for us? Like, and what can we do for us? Do we want to do
100%.
it for us? And if we don't want to do it, that's also okay. If the collective notion is like, yo, man, Bangy and Dead can't afford me, then it's like, if that's how you feel, you have your right. If Wanda Lephoto can't afford to pay you what you feel you are worth and what you deserve, that's also okay. But at least we would have had the conversation to know that. And right now, It's like we haven't had the conversation. It's like we're almost here isolated,
Right.
doing things in pockets, and being frustrated by ourselves as opposed to maybe finding a collective solution.
Conversations.
Yeah,
100%.
agree with that.
But at the same time, look, I don't think anyone could ever say no. You know why? You know why I'm saying that? It's because, bro, we need to, like, I want everyone to get real with themselves, right? And not necessarily even the industry, but like everyone that's in the creative industry, like the creative, right? Is that if we don't water each other, the whole creative industry is gonna fall apart, and it's gonna cease not to exist. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
we literally blocks of each other: the stylist, the musician, the model, the photographer, the videographer, the man. Everyone in the creative industry is literally a building block of each other. And the more we fail to water each in, is the more things are gonna start falling apart. And I always make the perfect example with hip hop, South African hip hop,
yeah,
because maybe even 10 South African hip hop was not what it was today. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I am. Can you?
Yeah, I
My
can hear
bad,
you.
my bad. I
I can
think I
hear
lost you
you a
there for
little
a
bit.
minute. Yeah, I said like hip hop,
Yeah,
right? Hip, can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah, people are gonna have to forgive us, and it's a network, guys. It's a lockdown. It's a coronavirus, bro. Forgive us. It's the coronavirus. Now. This thing is saying connection lost. So yeah, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah.
can,
So I'm
bro.
saying it's like hip hop, dog. Like 10 years ago, hip hop wasn't shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was nothing. Like hip hop wasn't shit, and everyone else um was just doing things to hopefully build it up. You know what I mean? So now
Yeah,
hip hop blows now. It blows, but now these same people forgot where they come from. You know what I mean? Like, you got
yeah,
artists wearing your Gucci, you got artists wearing your Louis Vuitton, you got artists wearing your Burberry. And for me, it's like, dog, you guys are like, you guys are missing the point, dog. Like, we built you guys up. We listen to your music. We attended your concerts so that you guys water it down as well. Like, you guys wear our shit so that we sell shit. Now it's a cycle. It's a money cycle. And the same thing I spoke about on the podcast with Scoop, like surfing waves or riding waves. It's like, dog, we need to create a money cycle. Like, the artist feeds the the designer feeds the stylist feeds the photographer. Like, dude, it's a money cycle where everyone's forever making money, because as long as the consumer buys the artist's music, the consumer is going to be exposed to what the artist wears, and the consumer is going to wear what the artist, like, dude, it's a money cycle. It's a money cycle. It's a
I feel
basic
you.
money cycle, which people are missing. Like, they're missing. And that's why I was saying I blame the artist most of the time, because like the artist, I like even to like today, I wouldn't say I've got a beef, but I only buy, like, on Apple Music and iTunes. I only buy artists that like buy my, like, dead, like, that if you buy the product, I'ma buy your music, not stream it. I'ma buy it, because like you watering my, like, my plant, dog. Like, it wouldn't be right for me not to water it back. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and they need to get that. Like, they need to understand that. Like, with that, like, it doesn't work. So now I want to ask you a question, right? And it's a question that I've made it a task to ask everyone. Like, that's a guest
Yeah,
on the
no.
show, and it's what's your understanding of consent? Like, when it comes to a woman, like, what does consent mean to you?
For me, and I guess like consent is a conversation. It's a conversation of to asking someone to do something and them having to agree or not agree,
Mhm.
um, and and them agreeing, that's them giving you consent to do what you wanted to do. It's like, yes, like if you have a kid, it's the conversation of your kid saying, "Yo, man, I want to go play outside, and you saying, nah, it's 8 p.m. at night, you can't go play outside because of A, B, and C, and then that kid then understanding that, oh, okay, shit, I can't do this because my mom feels like I
I
can't.
can go and
And
play outside.
if they agree,
Right.
that's the consent saying, yeah, you
Right.
can go play outside. Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on the so the whole not, I wouldn't necessarily say gender-based violence. I'd say like the rape list that happened like online like last year towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you this based on the fact that you know, when I looked at like the Cape Town social media, in Cape Town they were all like making it not necessarily seem, but they were saying that it's a fashion thing. Like it's these guys in fashion that use their influence in amongst the people in the fashion landscape to kind of do certain things to women. You know, like they mentioned a couple of brands. They mentioned Young and Lazy. They mentioned that other bag. Ah, damn, I forgot that brand. Not Seen. And for me, I didn't know anything about Not Seen. But when I went to Cape Town and I found out more about it, they say now the beef behind Not Seen is the fact that the owner of Not Seen gave product to people that were accused of doing such cases. You know what I mean? And to me, it was a thing of,
Yeah.
yo, I hear you guys. Like that's a fake case, but what if the homie is not in the scene? Like, what if the guy really doesn't know? Like, what if I'm an old guy that has a brand and I see one, I'm like, yo, Wanda's cool. Yo, Wanda, here's product and go shoot it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to hear like your thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts on the whole rape list, which was on social media, and what are your thoughts on it being perceived as a fashion thing? Like, you know, like to the cap, I'm talking about like the Cape Town landscape. Like they made it seem like it's a fashion thing. So,
Yeah, man.
what are your
I just
thoughts? Like, is that a thing? Does that happen in South?
I think I disagree with people feeling like it's a fashion thing. I think it's a South African thing.
Right,
Like it's a South African men thing, where it's like whether in any industry, man, like in any in any industry in South Africa, you'll find that problem. I have a homie. I have a homie. I have a homie of mine whose girlfriend is training to become a teacher. And at the school that
right.
she's training to become a teacher, she's almost about to get the job, but the principal of the school is almost making sexual advances to take advantage of her, as if to say, if you don't sleep with me, you're not going to become a
You're not
teacher
getting the
in the
job.
school. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a
What
South African
the fuck?
man thing where it's like an indie industry. I mean, bang it like man. It's like in the clubs, like in clubs, it's like
Yeah,
club scene, like rape culture is extremely strong because homies rely on the fact that they're gonna get this girl drunk and
it's
then take her
bottles.
home. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I wouldn't say it's just a fashion thing. In fashion, I can get why it's easier as well, because in fashion it's like if I'm the designer of my brand and I'm doing a casting and I'm looking for a specific girl, at the casting I can be like, yo man, take off your top, because I'm trying to find a girl with boobs that are A, B, and C, and that can lead on to many others. Like if we're doing a shoot, it can go from quickly being about the clothes to quickly becoming about being nude or being very sexual. And it's like,
Right.
I think that sort of stuff has created the problem. But with what you're talking, context, what you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, it's like, yo man, if I'm owner of a brand, um, and there's a guy that was on the list that wants to buy my shit. If I'm not aware of this guy, it's like, yo, man, I'm not aware. Like, I'm gonna sell it to him or I'm gonna give it to him if I like him, because I might not be aware of
Right.
the implications. You know what I mean? And also to touch on it, it's like I feel like the in South Africa, that conversation it's just is an online thing. It's like it's an online thing because half the guys that were on those
100%, dog.
thing ever happened. Like these guys still exist. These guys have these
You
guys have
still see
girls.
them in the club with the
Uh,
different hands.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like these
Yeah.
guys still get
Yeah.
support. These guys still get support from women, from men, from their employees. Um, the companies they
I
work
totally
for
get you.
don't care. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like
Yeah. It's an online
it's
conversation.
it's an online conversation that hasn't really affected anyone that was on the list. Maybe for a few that maybe got fired or maybe were whatever, but in reality, like nothing's really changed unless you yourself as Bangy cancelled homies. Like I know there's homies like I've cancelled where it's like, yo, you know what, bro? It's like I don't know. I don't know what happened, but based on what I heard from A, B, and C, like I have to cancel. And I've had conversations with homies, like I know that were on the list. It's like, yo, bro, like you are on the list. Like actually, what's happening? Like what? Like, ngitshele kwenzakalani?
What
And
happened?
if the story if
Yeah.
the story doesn't make sense, I canceled homies. It's like, yo, man, like I'm canceling you because your story is not making sense. You're saying you're like using alcohol as an excuse, blah blah blah. So I've also had to cancel homies the same way I guess like if I was on the list, I'd expect people to cancel not just me, even my homies, because it's like, yo, man, you always with the Sartists. Maybe the Sartists do this shit as well. So maybe we need to cancel all of you
Aha.
guys. You know what I mean?
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's like, and like I'm sorry to say this and put it this way, but it's like there's homies that were on that list that's still working with brands. You know what I mean? And the brands don't care, bro. It's like
Yeah. They don't
they bought
care.
the
Like
line,
it's no
they
cap, and
money.
that's crazy.
But then the brands also have hashtags where it's like a better future for all. How is it a better future for all when you couldn't cancel this guy that
Because of
that's
his
a rape
cloud.
or altar or whatever. You know what I mean? So that shit for me, it's like
Yeah.
sucks because it's like, yo, man, it's like nothing's really changed for these homies, like nothing. But people would cancel Bangy for less shit. Like if people would cancel you for, and I don't want to compare scales of evil, but people would cancel you for
Right.
something less than a rape or something less than a sexual assault or domestic abuse. People would cancel you for for liking a trap artist. That's
That's an
whatever.
abuser.
People will cancel you for that. It's like, nah,
No
I don't
cap.
feel Bangy. Bangy listens to Britney Spears and Britney Spears hates black people, so I'm canceling Bangy. It's like, yo, bro, like
Yeah.
you couldn't cancel this guy that raped, but you're gonna cancel.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like I'm just that's a probably a dumb analogy, but that's how I feel. That's how
I
I
get
feel.
what you mean.
Like we didn't take this thing seriously because these guys still have jobs. These guys are most likely still assaulting women or still
They're
abusing
still in
women,
parties, they still going to the
still at the
club.
party, biking women and doing all these things, and they haven't been cancelled. It's like more than anything, they got out of that shit. They still on Instagram live, objectifying women and doing all this shit. And if anything, we're laughing. Now we're laughing at it. It's like now it's like we're laughing. It's like whatever. He was on the list, so what? That's how I feel about it. It's like it's frustrating and it's like
Our
it's crazy.
standards. I hear you.
Yeah, man.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Look, I want to ask you like about like two last questions, right? So, um, based on let's say international landscape and like the national landscape. Now, when it comes to making clothes, like what is the one thing you wish was happening in South Africa that's happening abroad? Let's say, for argument's sake, let's say that was happening in New York. You know what I mean? Or the USA as a whole. Like, what is the one thing you look at them and be like, yo, fuck, if we could have that, that could make us better?
Yo, man, it's not just one thing, bro.
I
Like
know, I
it's
know. I need you to
it's
pick out
it's
the best one.
yo yo yo. It's
The best one.
You know, I wish South African designers and the South African consumer and the South African industry would embrace its own journey, its own struggles, its own stories, its own power or lack of power more than it does embrace the international scene. And I say this because it's like, yo, man, like I've been blessed enough to be able to travel to a few countries like London, Amsterdam, Dubai, and you go into these communities and you see how much they support each other, and they don't support each other on the fact that it's like, just my friend. They actually support the person because he's dope, but they also understand why, if they embrace him more than they embrace anyone else, that continues to create change within that community. And I feel like we don't do that
100%
enough for ourselves. So it's like you find a brand is stagnant or is unable to grow for 5 to 10 years because the community it lives in doesn't embrace them, it doesn't support them, it doesn't care about them. It's like, and that boils down to, again, it's like the conversation we have to have collectively. It's like, actually, as a collective, what is our priority? Because it's like if you go to London, it's like I was in London like the week ACW was dropping like the caps and they what do you call it? They were dropping caps, and it's like the moon bag, but they don't call it a moon bag. I forgot what they call it. And that's like the line. The line was so crazy, and that shit sold out. And it's because they understand. It's like, yo, man, in London, Samuel Ross, he's one of us. We have to show up for him and buy this shit out. We care about
a design it easier for me
from France, because this guy is one of our own. As much as they can buy that other stuff, they still have to support their own people here. And that's why it's easier for British or American to blow up in like 2 years or 3 years, even though they have better infrastructure than us, but they also have better support. And I think if we had the same support, like it would have been, you know what I mean? It's like, why does Tebe Makuku have to win a match before we support him? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no cap.
Yeah, like why does he have to get rich? He have to go do like stuff with Southern Guild and all these art spaces when he can do it here in SA? It's because no one here is supporting him like that. And I think if we could show love and support her and embrace ourselves, and it's like showing love is not always in money. It's not always like you're gonna buy a product.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just pulling up.
It's pulling up.
Man. It's just showing that we see you.
Yeah, so
but you're totally right, Doug.
That's the biggest one that will differentiate, because it's like we'll make it, bro. Like, it's like we're not gonna have to struggle, because it's like, yo, I know Bang is dropping and I'm gonna support, and that's why you find companies like Edcon, which is a South African owned company, having to shut down because people would rather go spend their money at Zara. And no offense to Zara, let them get their bag, but they also exist within South Africa, and they also employ South Africans. But we also have to show a company like that support. And I know like the difference in design between Edcon and Zara are significantly different, and it doesn't compare. But it's just sort of that analogy. It's like, yo, man, if we can support Zara, if you as a consumer, or even me, I'll talk about myself. Like, I buy Nike. If I can afford to buy a Nike shoe every month, then I can afford to buy a Rich Mnisi piece, or a Bangy piece, or a or you know what I mean. If I can afford, it just comes down to my priorities. And when it comes to my priorities, it's like maybe Wanda Lephoto isn't my priority.
Nike shoes.
Buy Nike, exactly. Boils down to us having a priority conversation. It's like, yo, what are we actually doing? If we want our
We need to
people to
be
do better,
patriotic.
and if we want, yeah, then we need to be like, yo, actually, maybe this month I'm not gonna buy those Nike sneakers. I'll buy them next month, and this month I buy from a designer locally. You know what I mean? And then the
You're
conversations
totally right.
yeah.
You're totally right. Because I remember when I was in London, one thing I noticed, right, is that Alexandra McQueen is worshipped in London, dog. And I couldn't believe it. Like, everyone has an Alexandra McQueen shoe. Like, you remember before that shoe blew up, like,
Yeah,
into, like,
yeah,
worldwide. Bro, that shoe was in every store I went to in London, dog. Like, I'm not
yeah,
capping, dog. Like, every third person was wearing that Alexandra McQueen shoe, and I couldn't believe it. And like, dog, this nigga's not known in South Africa. Like, we don't see this guy. That I didn't even dab him Alexander McQueen like that till I got to London. You know what I mean? Because those guys, I wouldn't even say worship, but they understand, bro. And I think they understand because of the government as well. Like the British government really waters the creative industry. Like
yeah,
they know it exists. You know, like they don't know it exists when they win awards only or when they do
yeah,
something significant, but they know it exists, and that's why the London Fashion Weeks are quite big deals because the government is part of those things. Like the government is well aware of what London as a fashion community can do.
yeah,
So that's look. There's a lot of things I tell people, right, and it's that we need to stop like looking at the government. Like in South Africa, we need to stop looking at the government. We especially when it comes to an industry like fashion, like we need to sit down and look around us. Like we I wouldn't necessarily even say as a kids, but we as a people really have the power because we are the ones that consume our products. We can only
yeah,
ask the government for so much. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's still our responsibility to buy a product, to go see these, to go see that. And I remember this I tapped into this like I think it was last year. And last year I had told myself that every event that someone I fuck with that's in the industry that's doing something that's shifting the culture, every time someone of that caliber has an event, I'm definitely gonna pull up. And
yeah. You must pull
and
up.
some people are asking me why would I pull up, and I was like, no, I'm gonna pull up because I personally, and I'm not like dick riding myself or anything like that, but I personally understand my social equity. You know what I mean? Like I understand that me being present at a specific place at a specific time means A, B, C, D. And we all need to understand that as people of influence in our respective industries, that dog, you pulling up, you might think you're wasting your time, but to the other people that came, the moment they see you, that validates the whole event. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it validates the whole event. And till we understand it, till we can do that, is that's when money will not counter support. Like will not no, that's when money will not be the only form of support.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
Nah, I feel you.
look,
I feel you.
I really think we can get there, because I always say this in my head that, since brands of our caliber came alive, like I still go on the gram and try look for other kids that I could be like, yo, these kids are coming, like, and I still can't see it. I still can't see it. And I don't blame that. I
I
don't
feel
blame
you.
that. I don't blame it.
I feel you.
I don't blame it because it's like I don't blame it because like there's nothing really to put your life on the line for when you're outside looking in. You know what I mean? Like there's because like there's no groundbreaking thing that our brands are doing, and that's all based on the support. You know what I mean? Like we have a lot
Yeah,
more rappers now coming up because they see your AKAs, they see your Caspers, and
yeah,
now
yeah,
they have
yeah,
a
yeah,
point
yeah,
of reference of what they can aspire to. You get what I mean? But
yeah,
when it
yeah, yeah.
comes to
But
us, like
yeah,
we're gonna mention like OGs like David Tlale, which look, much respect to the OG, you know what I mean? But I don't aspire to be like David Tlale. I don't aspire to be like David Tlale, you know what I mean? And it's probably because I don't see enough of what he does, or it's probably because I don't know much of what he does, which is something we all need to change. Like we all need to change how we
Yeah,
document things. Because dog, this is bigger than us, dog. Like we are
yeah,
inspiring, we aspiring a bigger chain of people that one day every kid tomorrow is gonna wake up saying, I want to be a fashion designer, make clothes, which in reality that's what we should want. Like we need to talk
yeah,
more about our struggles. We need to talk more about what we want from life. We need to talk more about where we are right now and where we want to go. And we need to show it so that kids will look at this shit and be like, yo, damn, I could be like Wanda. I could be like Bangy. I could be like Richie Mnisi. I could be like Teremaku. I could be like these niggas. I can. And that's why I'm gonna follow them some more to see if I can really be like them. You get what I mean?
yeah.
Okay, so
I'm with
the
you.
last question. What's your view on collaboration? As and collaboration like as a greater sphere, like in terms of the industry, not necessarily for your brand, but like as South Africa as a whole. Like, what's your view on collaboration, and how do you think collaboration could change our landscape in the creative industry?
Um, yo, man, like I used to really, and I still do. I used to really believe in collaboration. I think that's how we started the Sartists. Like it was a collective of
Right.
guys that to do shit. And if you don't have the resource to do it yourself, you get someone in that's gonna help you. And I guess like when you're an art collective, you need photographers, you need designers, you need whatever. And I still believe in that because it's like that only makes shit great. I think I still also believe it's like we don't collaborate enough amongst peers, amongst friends, amongst respects. Because I think your internal suffering has put you in a place where you probably isolate yourself so much to your own struggles that you're even afraid of reaching out because you're like, yo, man, I can't let people see my suffering like this. So let me just do it myself. Whereas if we shared these struggles, shared these conversations, we'd be better because it'd be like, yo, bang, you know what, bro? It's like actually I'm not able to do A, B, and C, and I need you to help me out. And that could foster a thing where we're growing, we're growing even better and stronger. Um, so it's like it's a weird thing. It's like as a member of the Sartist, I used to believe so much in collaboration, but as a brand, I would never want to collaborate because it's like, yo, man, I can't get people to see how much this brand struggles until I did the collaboration with Bone Soda, where it was like, oh shit, actually, as much as I'm struggling by myself, I did this collaboration with these homies, and it worked because they lifted me. I lifted them in some way, and it's working out. So my personal struggle that I go through by myself disappears because of the collaboration. So it completely
Right.
disappears because it's like now you have support. Now there's a marketing, PR, or financial injection that's there to help. Or now there's a different form of an outlook that you have in isolation. So that, like for me, that definitely changed my mind because it's like, yo, man, we actually need to work with each other as best as much as possible because it's on. And that's also the thing. It's like it's not as if we don't see these things internationally. Like Supreme is the biggest example of it. It's like, yo, man, these guys have a collaboration every 2 weeks with Timberland, with Comme des
Yeah.
Garçons, with Lacoste, with whoever, and it's like that only elevates them. So why is it that the biggest two
We
brands
can't
in the
do the
world
same.
can come together, but brands that are not even half as close to being supreme have more pride and have more egos, and they can't do that. So it's like it sort of changed my
Yeah.
mind, and I'm growing into it now. It's like, yo, man, actually, I need to collaborate with people, and I know it's like in South Africa, like it's a joke. Like in South Africa, we made it a joke where it's like, um, we speak about collaborations and it never happens. And I think for me, I used to look at that as a negative, but now it's like, yo, man, you know what? It's actually fine. It's like, even if we speak about it and never do it, but the fact that we spoke about it, maybe one day it'll manifest into something. It's not just a negative. It's like, yo, man, you working on your shit, I'm working on my shit. And when the time is right, things will happen. And sometimes you just have to force it. Sometimes you just have to force it. And it's like, yo, man, I know I can't afford to. I know I can't afford for us to do this collaboration right now, but let's do one T-shirt, even if it's a sample. It's fine. Do one sample, one T-shirt, shoot that. If it never drops, it's fine. But we did it, and that's still collaboration because it's like there was a coming together of two forces, two ideas, two people, two brands, or whatever the case might be, two artists. It helps. It doesn't keep things stagnant. It contributes to the climate. And I think it's something we need to do more, man. It's like designers need to start becoming like rappers. It's like, yeah, man. It's like you jump
because the rap industry right now is boring.
Yeah, and I'll jump on your song for free or whatever the case. It's like photographers maybe need to stop like rappers. It's like, yo, man, we'll shoot the same model together or whatever. It's like whatever the collaboration is
I
for
totally
that project.
get what you mean.
Yeah, man.
This is what I think. I think collaboration is like look, whenever I think about collaboration, my mind always jumps to Off-White. Because look, your supreme idea is also right, but I always look at like time, because to a fashion brand, like time really, really fucking matters, you know? Because like Supreme is like from 1993, so they've got the books to show why we should collaborate. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they show you figures, they talking numbers. But Off-White is definitely, for me, every time I think about collaboration, they set the blueprint for me, because Off-White, look, if you think about it, Doug, if you really think about it clearly, Off-White is a brand built on collaboration. Literally. Like that was Virgil's blueprint. He's gonna collaborate out till he gets to the pinnacle where he wants to get, and that's where he's gonna relax. Because if we look at 2018 or 2017 till now, I mean, like, there was a period Off-White was really only dropping collabs, bro. Like, no cap. Like, every day there's collabs, and now they're just relaxing. And that's what I want people to understand. That's what collaboration between and I'm gonna talk about in the South African landscape, right? I think collaboration in our industry is very much needed, because we still have consumers that think that they can't wear Wanda Lephoto and Dead together. You know what I mean? Or they can't wear a Rich Minisi pants and a Dead t-shirt. Like, there's very few people that can do that, but the masses are of the idea that we're beefing. That's the masses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The masses are of the idea that we don't want to work together because it's about who can do it first and who's the best and whatnot. So the moment we can collaborate and break that stigma, we still really not gonna be united as an industry and as a consumer, for consumers to buy into the local community. You know what I mean? And I always and I talk to everyone about this. I was even having a conversation with Laduma about it. That you can break bank. That's cool. That's amazing. But is it sustainable bank? Like, we can make $1 million right now, dog. Like, and that's cool. Yo, you have $1 million in your bank account. But what matters is, can you make $1 million every year, $1 million plus every year for like 20 years?
Yeah.
Probably not. And that's extremely dependent on the climate, the fashion climate, like you said. That's really dependent on how hot you are, how hot I am, how hot Laduma is, how hot Richie Misi is, how hot Tema Magugu is. Like, competition breeds profit. Like, and that's, we've seen it so many times out there. Even hip hop, dog. We had AKA for the longest time, AKA knocking on the door, and then we had Malum Kuket, who came out of nowhere, and with his song Sebenza. Only Rest in December. You know what I mean? That song came out, and then we had your Casper. And the more people that came in, the more people that looked like they were competing, the more money came into that industry. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the more money came in, because the more people had options. Because now, let's say for argument, I buy a Wanda Lephoto. Let's say I'm a consumer. I buy a Wanda Lephoto t-shirt because I think it's a cool t-shirt. But because Wanda worked with Beautiful Boys, now I fall onto Beautiful Boys. I'm like, oh damn, that's actually a nice t-shirt too. Let me buy that, and that's a cycle. Now it's just dominoes from there. It's domino. Like it's really dominoes, because that's one thing I'm striving to break. Like I'm striving to break the local stigma that South African brands are beefing, and we are not beefing. Like we are not beefing, but people want to see it. People want to see it. Like people want to see us like actually doing something real, and that's when they're gonna understand. Like, oh shit, okay, this is what's going on. Because like the consumer, they seeing is believing for them, dog. Like we can talk till our faces are red, but till they see it, hey, these guys are actually not beefing. So yeah, man. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, blood. Like we'll definitely have a part 2, you know, where it's like real life, better listening. I mean, better audio quality, better visual quality. Definitely after the COVID-19 decides to die down and we off lockdown, because now we're under house arrest, you know. But thank you so much for giving me your time, man. It's an honor to talk to you. It's an honor to pick your brain, and yeah, we will definitely speak soon. And yeah, maybe, you know, have a young conversation about a collaboration, you know.
Bro,
But yeah, you know what it is, bro.
Thank you for having me, bro. Thank you for hitting me up. Like it's an honor to talk to you as well, man. It's an honor to share our journey, share our stories. So I'm looking forward to part 2. Looking forward to continuing the conversation. And yo, man, for real, like let's get it. Like collaboration,
let's get
conversations.
It, bro. No cap.
Let's really get it, bro. But blessing.
Thank you so much for your time, though. Enjoy the rest of your day. I bless up.
Peace, bro. Stay safe.